Hi everyone, I'm Marissa Phillips and I am going to share my reflection about creating an advocacy plan. So when I first started this course, I had no idea what I was going to do. Obviously it was going to be an advocacy plan in education, but I wasn't sure what I was going to focus on. And as I began to research, I realized that teacher vacancies is a huge issue, not only in my community, but in the United States as a whole. And so as I continued to research and think of ways that I can advocate for educators, I started to realize that there is a much bigger problem. And the problem is, why are there teacher vacancies? And so I started to reach out to some of my peers, some of my friends who are educators, and get a little bit of background information on what it's like to be a teacher. Fortunately for me, I also have a sister-in-law who is a teacher, and although she's in a different state, she had great feedback. And so one thing that I realized they all had in common was they all said, we don't have support groups and we aren't paid enough. But what I realized was that these people who felt they weren't paid enough thought that if they had support groups, they could get past the challenges of the compensation issue. And so as I was thinking and creating an advocacy plan, one of the challenges I faced was, how could I get these teachers paid more? And how could I get support groups within these school districts? And so what I decided was the most effective way to do that was to create an advocacy group that was in Elk Grove, that included community members, other professionals, teachers, doctors, people who need teachers, and have this group meet on a weekly or monthly basis, and it could be virtually, and have us talk about how we can help these educators and how we can get support groups within schools. And so this group, this advocacy group, is then going to go to district meetings. Every single district meeting, there will be a representative from the advocacy group, and we're going to talk about how important it is and why we at least need support groups. But one of the things that caught my attention that I felt was a little bit of a hiccup was, then what? Then what if these district leaders say, okay, you can have support groups? And so I think that my next step in this advocacy plan is then to create like a pilot group, and have this pilot group be virtual because of COVID-19. Obviously, people can't meet in person, but have this pilot group be virtual, where we group teachers together who are tenured, new teachers, interns, and they meet virtually. And they have this forum online where they can communicate and they can discuss top issues. And let's see the mindset change of the teachers, or if it even changes. And I think that there would be drastic changes in teacher vacancies, and that if these teachers had other people to reach out to or to communicate with, then we wouldn't have as much of a teacher vacancy impact. And then I think that from there, we would continue to go on to next steps, which would be advocating for teacher compensation at a higher level, at a state level, rather than a district level. But what I want to do is just start small and start this pilot program. That's what I think the next steps would be. Right now, it's just creating the group and finding a virtual and in-person place for them to meet. Overall, it was a really great experience. I'm super excited to see this advocacy plan really get put into full force, and I look forward to helping educators and students because they're the ones who are truly impacted by teacher vacancies. Thanks.